Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I'm a published author, writer, and bookworm. I have nothing to sell you on this channel. I'm just here to connect with like-minded people and share my own experiences as a writer. If you're like me and you want to be a full-time author, meaning your career is writing books, then maybe you've thought about your branding as an author. But what do we mean when we talk about branding? It's such a vague term. Personally, I think the simplest way to look at it is branding is the identity that you create for your business, and your business is you, the author. I like to look at it like this. Have you ever been talking to a friend and you refer to someone else and you say something like, "Oh, have you seen that one guy who's always posting about blah, blah, blah?" Or you know that chick on TikTok who posts funny stuff about XYZ? Branding contributes to what you are known for. You're that one person who, what? That's branding. Branding is part of marketing, and if you want to treat writing like a business, marketing is going to be a part of that. But this doesn't always come naturally to authors. In fact, I would argue that most of the time, it does not come naturally. But why? Well, simple, we're not brand experts, we're writers. Also, I want to be completely honest, I don't love the fact that as a writer, I have to care about this stuff. Actually, I talked about this on my on TikTok. I don't want to think about things like social media. I'm an introvert, I just want to write. Sharing myself with the internet doesn't feel like the most natural thing in the world. And also, it's a lot of pressure, especially in the beginning when you don't get much engagement. Posting online is one, boring, and two, it's discouraging. I cringe when I'm querying an agent and they ask how many followers I have. I hate it, it's too much pressure. But because being active online is so important these days, not just for writers, but for all sorts of professionals, it really is in our best interest to get more comfortable with things like branding and marketing. I would also argue that, especially with the low barrier to entry in self-publishing, having a personal brand as an author, it's not negligible. I don't think it takes precedence over your skills as a writer, but knowing how to brand yourself certainly doesn't hurt. So let's talk about it. To be clear, I'm mostly talking about branding for fiction writers, which is what I am. Branding for nonfiction, I feel like is a lot more mandatory and might also be a lot more niche. When I think of branding, there are two things I think about in particular. My website, which would include my blog, and my social media. These two things are a big part of my online identity as an author. Remember, I said a minute ago that branding is building your identity. While it is a slower crawl for me, I have been making more time for my website and social media, and here's what I've been doing. First, let's talk about my website, which is bymegangrant.com. I first tried to build this myself on Wix. I was determined to do it myself. I don't know why I wasted my time because my husband is an engineer and a developer, but I'm very stubborn and wanted to do it myself without his help. It didn't work. So he took what I made and did it 10 times better on WordPress. I wanted something very, very simple for two reasons. First of all, that's my aesthetic. Simple, clean, easy on the eyes, minimal. Along these lines, I also wanted that aesthetic because I wanted the site to be about my words, not having a gorgeous website. And the second reason is that I learned the hard way that when you don't have a website that you can easily log into and make updates on, it's a pain in the caboose. WordPress, I know my way around it. And everything on my site exists on pages or posts, and I know how to use those as well. This matters especially because I want to keep my blog updated and I don't want to have to go to my husband for help publishing that content, which has happened in the past with other sites I've had, and it just doesn't work for me. So if you go to my site, you'll see there's not a lot to it, and that's by design. Also, if you were to read my writing, or if you knew me in real life, you'd find that I'm a straight shooter. I like to get to the point. I'm very no nonsense. No fluff. I'm telling you this because all of this factored into my branding and my aesthetic. It reflects who I am as a person and a writer. Let my words shine and everything else is kind of white noise, so remove it. My website exists for a couple of main reasons. To promote my books, like I Think I Left the Curling Iron On. People can learn about this book and then go straight to Amazon if they'd like to buy it. But also the blog is really important because that, over the long run, is going to help me rank higher in Google and make me more visible to more people. I have a few pictures of myself on my website. I think I have like 3. My website doesn't have a ton of pages, so I don't need a ton of pictures. But anyhow, they're more candid, I would say. I'm in more muted, nondescript clothes, no logos or anything. A couple are from a park here in Las Vegas, and one, I think I was just sitting on the bed gazing out the window in a completely staged photo. But I purposely tried to be myself and not make this look too corporate. And I did that because your brand as an author is you. It's me. When people fall in love with authors, they're falling in love with the human, not a company. So I want people to see me. I could have put on my blazer and uploaded a professional headshot, but that's not the branding. That's not the aesthetic that I'm going for. No shade if that's you, it's just not me. Something else I wanted to convey through some of these pictures, I pride myself on being creative and free. I feel most free when I'm writing. I have no rules for myself, and I love it. You'll see pictures of me on my website like this one, and this is because to me, this shows me being free and kind of coloring outside the lines. Didn't even fix my hair. I picked clothes I felt comfortable and confident in. They aren't particularly sexy or expensive, but I felt good. And I think that's important because when you feel good, it shows, and when you don't feel good, it shows. I feel like your author website should be an extension of who you are as a person and who you are as a creator. Let's move on to social media, the bane of my existence. In the beginning, I found myself sucked into that mindset of, I'm going to create a profile everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, and on and on and on. I also went back and forth because I already have profiles everywhere, but they were never really writing specific. So I debated, do I start fresh or use my existing profiles and kind of just rebrand those and start posting this new kind of content as a writer? Personally, I don't think that there's a one-size-fits-all answer to this, but here's what I did. Facebook, I had a Facebook business page for another purpose. I no longer post on it anyway. I have my personal page, which I rarely post on. Long story short, I do not use Facebook actively to promote my writing. I did not start a new page. Facebook, I kind of shelved it completely. Twitter, I've had a profile for years. I've never used it actively enough to worry about switching the focus. So I kept that one, and now I'm investing a little more time in trying to post about writing, but especially to network, because there is a huge community on Twitter for this industry. There's writers, editors, agents, publishers, you name it. Twitter, in my opinion, is relevant. Words I never thought I'd say. Instagram, love it as a consumer, as a creator. I don't get how anyone finds success there without getting lucky. I just don't. That being said, I did decide to create an entirely new Instagram page because my existing page, I had already beaten it to death. First, it was just a personal page, and then I used it for my agency, and then another business, and then I used it to promote a course that I made years ago. I've read before about how once social media algorithms place you in a box, it's hard to get out, so I wanted a fresh start. TikTok, same. I had a page, but I wanted to create a new one in this niche. I felt like that was important to give it the best chance possible at growing. Now with both Instagram and TikTok, I made these profiles as both a writer and a reader, and my content reflects that. On Instagram, I've had 2 posts take off, and when I say that, I mean relative to my other posts, which get very little traffic. On TikTok, I got really lucky. I had 2 posts go legitimately viral, which this time around, something really cool happened. It brought me a ton of new followers, over 1,000, whereas I started with about 100. That has not happened to me in the past when I've gone viral, and I wonder if it's because this time I have a more specific profile. So that was pretty cool. On both platforms, I experiment. I play around with images and videos, ones where I'm talking, others where it's just text on the screen, trending audio. On TikTok, I'll try trending CapCut templates. Testing, I've found, is crucial because I have no idea what's going to work. And sometimes it's the stuff you least expect. You really, in the beginning, you cannot dismiss anything without trying. Full transparency, I have not been as consistent with Instagram as I probably need to be. TikTok, I have. In fact, for about a month straight, I committed to posting about 3 times a day. It was slowly bringing me more followers, and that's something I'm noticing about TikTok compared to Instagram. Consistency does seem to pay off. It was not earth-shattering, but my page was growing, more so than I ever saw on Instagram. I don't know why I've always, in general, had such a hard time with Instagram. If you've got some trick up your sleeve, drop me a comment and let me know. Right now, and for a while now, I've been team TikTok. I just feel like there's more opportunity there, assuming the US doesn't ban it. Across the board, I've noticed that posting things that are slightly controversial can be great for engagement. I don't push the envelope too much because I don't want to attract the trolls, but it can work. And these days, being a little bit controversial is very easy because everyone gets offended by everything. I feel like as I test and I slowly find what brings me the most engagement, those things will become a part of my branding. But I haven't stressed over maintaining one single aesthetic like the one that I talked about earlier, because social media is such a unique beast that I was very confident I needed to try a lot of different things. I can say that I haven't forced anything that has felt either completely unnatural or like something that I can't maintain. For example, I love posts that look like this and this. I have no idea how to create content that looks this gorgeous, no clue. Also, I don't own nearly enough books, so it doesn't make sense for me to strive for something like this. Something else, I will not commit to only posting on social media when I have a full face of makeup on and my hair is perfect. Many days, I do not look like that. If I limit my posting to only those days, I will not post that often. All right, so I've got my general branding kind of figured out, but I'm leaving room to evolve. I'm going to leave room to allow myself to change as I figure out what works. All this being said, branding, to be clear, it can refer to a lot more specific details like your logo, the font you use, the exact color codes on your site. My opinion, these things might be really important for a bigger company who needs to maintain consistently online. Like if you've got a company that has 1,000 people, you don't want people making up their own logos for the company or sending out email newsletters that look completely different. But that's not us. Most of us are one-person shows, and we don't really need branding rules or even a style guide. You do want a consistent identity, but when people are coming to your site to read your blogs, they're not thinking, is this font Arial? Because I don't think they used Arial last time. They're paying attention to what you're talking about. Keep it consistent, but in my opinion, don't get too bogged down in the nitty-gritty. It's more important to make yourself recognizable, and that's why it makes the most sense to have branding that represents your personality as a writer. If you've made it this far and you're thinking, I have no idea what my branding should be, I totally get it. Another reason I've kept mine simple is because, like I've already said, I want to leave room for my writing and my branding to change. The first few books that I wrote would fall into the humor genre. Then I decided that I wanted to tackle mystery. And right now, my current work in progress is, it's a little bit mystery. Well, it started as a mystery, but I don't know how I got here, but it ended up being more of like a psychological thriller, paranormal type story. I didn't know it would go in this direction, but I'm glad I left myself the breathing room to play with different genres because that's where my writing took me. If years down the line I know that all I want to write is psychological thrillers or paranormal or whatever, I might adjust my branding to reflect that. For now, it's not necessary. Keep it simple. I know this was a little bit of rambling, but I hope you learned at least one new thing. I love connecting with other writers and bookworms, so drop me a comment to say hello. If you have any ideas for upcoming videos, let me know. I always love hearing your ideas. And again, I'm not here to sell you anything, but I would love your support. So if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you next time.